What's up, YouTube? Yu-Gi-Oh! Galaxy. I got back from my locals about probably an hour ago, and we're gonna go over my matches and how I did. Overall, I went 3-2. Technically, I went 3-2. I did end up taking 2-3 to help someone out because I couldn't top, but I I did get 3-2. That is my real record that I did end up getting. And the person I did give the win instead of me taking the 3-2 for myself, he didn't make it in top 8 either, unfortunately. But, oh well, he had a chance. I didn't. But round 1, I played against 6 AMs. Game 1, they got me. I misplayed a little bit. I had Book of Moon and Double Phoenix Chain set. They had Kagemusha and Xian. He attacked with Kagemusha. I activated Book of Moon. I should have activated Phoenix Chain because he would have activated Xian, and then I could have Phoenix Chain his Xian, and then both of them wouldn't have been able to attack. So overall, that was a misplay that I made, and it cost me the game. Game 2, I took the game. I went Karkar, ended up getting Guaiba and Lance. Ended up crashing into a Xian, getting another Guaiba. That ended up being enough to push me for game. And game 3, it was a pretty well stabilized game, but he was able to pull a Rhoda, had a Kageki and Kagemusha, made a Xian, and then he top decked into a Kizan. So he had the plays in game 3 to make him be able to push through and get the win. Round 2, I played a Morphtronic deck, and while I would like to say that I had a very easy time with it, I didn't. We went to game 3. Game 1, yeah, it was game 1. I lost game 1. He dropped into a Power Tool and a boom, and he had a Boomboxin on field, and I had a Guaiba and I had a Lance, and he had a United We Stand equipped to his Power Tool, and I didn't bother to read the other effective Power Tool saying you could essentially send it to the grave to save his Power Tool. So I was thinking, okay, well, my Guaiba's going to attack over the Power Tool with a Lance. I'm going to get a Guaiba, and then I'm going to make a Logia, and then I'm going to win. Unfortunately, he was able to detach, well, not detach, send the spell card and save his monster. And then he just attacked over my Guaiba and proceeded to win. Game 2, I made a Logia first turn, and then I drew into Tour Guide, went Tour Guide, got another Logia, and that was the support I needed, and that won me the game. Game 3, I opened with Sabersaurus, and a few other cards. Sabersaurus is the only one that I remember, though. I played Sabersaurus. He wasn't able to deal with it. He set a card. I then drew Rabbit, used Rabbit, got my Sabersaurus, and overlaid into Logia, and no, I made Dolka for the win because he had exactly 2,300 life points left. I attacked with Sabersaurus, attacked with my Rabbit for the game. I had a Thunder King in there at some point, but it really didn't make too much of a difference in the total game. If it had been another Sabersaurus, it would have been the same thing. Round 3, I played Heroes. Heroes again took me into round 3, game 3. Game 1, I was able to set up an early Logia, and I had a back row Torrential and Deep Prison, so he wasn't getting through it. And he just kept setting cards, and I drew him to my Vanillas, and my Guaibas, and my Thunder Kings, until I slowly just beat him down. Game 2, that was a terrible game. Actually, no, Heroes didn't bring me into game 3, because I did end up 2-0ing him. Game 2, I'm sorry, I should have had to go to Game 3. Game 2, I opened, Double Cobazal Sabersaurus, Tour Guide, and Compulsion Mirror Force. He went first, he set I think it was a Bottomless and a Mirror Force. And I went into my Sabersaurus, he ended up bottomlessing it. I was like, okay, cool. He went, summoned, attacked, no. He went first, he did that, I did that, I summoned into a bottomless. He went, and I set Mirror Force, I think, with a Torrential. Passed, he drew into Stratos, summoned. I Torrentialed or Bottomless. I had some form of like monster hate removal. He added a elemental hero Bubbleman, and was able to special summon it because he set the other 3 cards from his hand. They were spells or traps, and recruited 2 cards. This wasn't the good hero build, by the way. He was playing Burstinatrix, Sparkman, Avian, and Clayman. And polymerizations and everything. Playing 3 Super Poly. That was actually annoying. But yeah, I was slowly but surely, I was able to gain advantage. What actually ended up making me win the game, though, that game 2, was I was able to use my tour guide, and I made a Temtempo. And what he had on the field was a Utopia with both materials and a Flame Wingman. And I used my Temtempo effect, detached a material from Utopia, and passed. On his turn, I detached a material from Utopia again to make Temtempo 27. I drew my card. I normal summoned to Sabersaurus. I attacked with Temtempo into Utopia. Utopia redirected it to Flame Wingman. Essentially that's what happened, because Utopia destroys itself, and then Temtempo attacked Flame Wingman, and then I attacked for 19. And then I was able to set up a Logia after that, and I just kept, yeah, everything just kept going the good way. Round 4, I played Heretic. Heretic with Dragon Rulers mixed in, and game 1 I opened Thunder King Macro, and that just completely destroyed him. He had nothing to do about it. Game 2 I opened with 5 traps and a Thunder King. He opened Royal Decree. That won him the game. And game 3, well fought game. I made a Dolka, and he had enough of the Heretic monsters to just burn through the effects of my Dolka. What I really should have done, and I didn't because I had a set Lance, I should have let him made his little a tomb and try to attack, and then I could have flipped Lance, but I didn't, so I misplayed there too. Technically, I didn't know if he had all those, so it could be interpreted as a misplay, and it probably was, but I mean, it was optional. It depends on the eyes of the beholder, I guess. And then round 5. At this point, I was at 2-2. The 6 Samurai guy I played ended up being a 3-2, and my losses both ended up being 4-1s, but the hero guy I beat ended up going 4-0. No, 0-4, sorry. So with him, my tiebreakers were not enough to push me to the top 8. I knew that. I had been told that by a lot of people. So, but I did play round 5, just for the hell of it. But we played through. I did end up 2-0ing him. Game 1, he played Constellar Pollux. Constellar Pollux summoned Alligetti, and Alligetti overlaid, and he made Omega. And I knew I couldn't deal with him very easily, but I had a Rabbit in hand, I had a Guaiba in hand, and I had a Lance in hand. And I did think of this like, okay, maybe I can damage step Lance him. No, but Omega won't be affected, he can detach. But I eventually did decide I was going to use Rabbit. I got my Cabazals, and I overlaid, no, I got Sabersaurus because I opened with a Sabersaurus. And I went into him, I made a Mace Stroke, flipped the Omega, attacked over the Omega, and after the Omega was gone, it was kind of easy. Game 2, Literally the longest game I played, it took about 30 minutes for that game to be done. Why? Because I saw 12 of my 16 traps. He played, I think 14, and he saw 13 of them. Yeah, we saw a lot of traps. Overall, it was just a lot of back and forth. What really ended up making me win was I just was able to top deck a Guaiba and attack. I did misplay in this game technically. I didn't think it was a misplay until I realized that I was actually wrong. I normally summoned a rabbit with no materials, not materials, targets in deck. He did compulse it though, so I did get saved a little bit. Then I drew into a Torag and attacked for game. But yeah, that was game 2. He did have a chance of topping. He had a much better chance than I did. So I did say, okay, well, you know what, you can take the win. So I did end up giving him the win. He ended up going 3-2 technically, and he didn't make top 8, but I gave him the chance. And I didn't show my side deck before, so I'll show that now. I did end up siding 2 Veilers, 2 Kaikus. These were for Evil Swarm, Constellars, Dragon Rulers sometimes, Kaikus, Dragon Rulers, Prophecy, Maxis, Dragon Rulers. They ended up going in against Heretic because that deck was ridiculous. And he actually did end up making me draw 5 cards, so I was kind of happy about that. That was the game. I lost that game too. That was the game where he had Royal Decree. 2 Snowmans for the Evil Storm matchup. 2 MSTs for Fire Fists, anything really. Mermills, 2 kind of, I guess. 3 Imperial Iron Walls for dragons, and 2 Mind Drains for dragons and Mermills, because this card does hurt Mermills too. But yeah, that's my local report. That's how I did. Overall, I think I did pretty well with all my misplays. But rate, comment, subscribe. Give me any suggestions on anything in the side deck you would change, main deck. I always want help improving the deck if it's possible. But yeah, thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.